Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about the participatory budgeting as a type of e-participation, and more specifically about the ways how citizens can be efficiently engaged and involved in a governance processes with the use of online tools. During the times of COVID pandemics, online participation, including participatory budgeting, has become a necessity for governments and local municipalities, as there are no other options to engage citizens offline. We have experienced massive closures of the on-site consultancy, moving public services to online platforms, thinking about how to optimize public service delivery with the limited resources. I'm not going to review specific tools such as Zoom, MS Team, online collaboration platforms, and so on, but rather outline the principles of efficient citizen government interaction for the participatory budgeting implementation. Also, several examples will be presented to showcase possible solutions for citizen engagement. Before I start talking about online participation in detail, I would like to stress several terms that sometimes are used interchangeably or misunderstood at their core. There are several terms as e-participation in government and participatory budgeting. Altogether, they contribute to creation of a public trust. However, the meaning of those terms needs to be distinguished. E-participation is citizens' intervention in the processes of governance supported by specific information and communication tools. These governance processes might include national level or local administration, public service delivery, decision-making, and policy creation. Although e-participation is viewed as citizens' bottom-up participation, it is still organized and led by authorities. E-governance, in turn, is ICT-supported tool for optimizing and transforming public services delivery, initiated by governing bodies. It transforms processes, structures, and general culture of governing, also initiated by governing bodies. Participatory budgeting, in turn, is a process of democratic decision-making when citizens take part in designing ideas or ideating, preparing and adopting parts of public budget, meaning that this process specifically focuses on distribution of public budget share, according to view of citizens. The other two, e-participation and e-governance, are generally focusing on citizen involvement in a larger sense. It is important to know that all the processes require government or administration engagement and support. So what does it mean? In the context of citizen participation in decision-making, there are usually two ways of how to engage. These are characterized by the top-down and bottom-up approaches of citizen involvement. It is important to remember that e-participation is a top-down process initiated and led by the governing bodies. It goes beyond the legal requirements and takes semi-formal character due to its integrating nature. It is done to make governance processes more understandable and accessible to the larger citizen groups. For instance, different approaches and languages might be used to address potential investors, young people, or seniors. E-participation should always demonstrate openness and transparency to enhance even the most skeptic citizens, as they might have brilliant ideas on how to improve something in their localities. E-participation is not something that could be used for testing or validation of some decisions already made. No, it is important to know that e-participation is only real when it's implemented on early stages of decision making and citizens are consulted from the beginning. Otherwise, citizens will take the role of commenters and critics, and it is seen from bottom-up approach implementation. The letter E for e-participation indicates on the participation processes carried out online with the use of digital tools and platforms. However, e-participation does not exclude offline methods of consulting with citizens. Within e-participation communication framework, there are three types of communication approaches. Here you can see them graded from the simple informing function to the most advanced model, where participants are introduced as decision makers and the two-way communication is presented. If compared to each other, we can say that e-information is a tell and sell communication model implemented to inform citizens on what is going on within specific area or field of activity. It can also include informing citizens about their opportunities to actually take part in decision making, but do not really monitor if citizens are interested in or they are actually involved. E-consultation means following the two-way communication model and enhancing citizens to discuss the decision-making and specific ideas. E-decision making, as previously told, is the most advanced model, which includes citizens in designing own ideas, promoting them, and basically co-creating public policies and services. Speaking about the ways how effective online communication is developed for each of these models, here you can see methods and tools for each of them: e-information, e-consultation, and e-decision making. So, for implementing e-information, all open government data should be made public in online sources, freely available on websites, social media profiles, or public institutions. Other online media, such as digital journals, newsletters, can also be used in this case. Access, reuse, and redistribution should be enabled. For e-consultation, more advanced tools might be used to enable large number of citizens actually contributing to the discussion and scenario building. These might include not only social media tools, but also professionally designed e-participation platforms and special tools embedded into public websites, such as polls and forums. For complex e-decision making, both previous communication models need to be present, plus other customized mechanisms and tools introduced. For instance, these might be tools enabling submission of citizen ideas and voting on them, such as on the digital platforms designed specifically for participatory budgeting. So, how this two-way communication should look like? First of all, communication should focus on specific recipient groups, meaning its audience-centric nature. It means that communication should not be based on what governance institution could do, rather on what citizens are expecting. It includes choosing right communication channels and the languages of messages. As an example, different languages of formality are expected by diverse age groups. For instance, seniors and youth might need different approaches, even if reached through the same online channels. Meaningfulness for communication, for meaningfulness of communicated issue in general is another aspect to take into consideration. Once you have committed to enhance citizen engagement, then do not implement it just as a formality. It's important to make citizens feel they actually can contribute to the issue they feel personally interested in. A greater level of satisfaction with public services and bigger citizen engagement can be reached through proactive communication from the side of authorities. More status updates on specific stages and processes of collecting decision-making increases the trust towards government. To do so, digital public platforms can be equipped with calendars, timelines, visualized graphs, progress bars, subscription buttons to regular newsletters for faster and more efficient updating. However, do not spam and overwhelm citizens with too many details, as they might get irritated and unsubscribe. A lot of communication experts nowadays apply storytelling techniques to design memorable and meaningful messages. Storytelling allows to cluster discrete elements of information into a coherent story and identifies priority themes and narratives to be highlighted. The main strength of storytelling is avoidance of communicating everything, focusing on the most significant and meaningful data. E-participation or online participatory budgeting cases can also constitute the object of storytelling by communicating best practices of citizen engagement online and therefore enhancing local citizens to follow example of other cities and engage more actively. To make design information delivery more effective, partnerships is a big deal. Partnerships are being established with local and regional NGOs, industry, and public agencies to make them contribute to the informing and engaging citizen groups. In what is done and what is planned on municipal, regional, national level, all this information can be shared, distributed more effectively with the use of partners. Here, mutual information sharing on websites and social media pages is useful, however, not limited to online interactions only. Additionally, successful media partnerships can transform into sustainable networks and work groups within specific area of action. What is important about designing or restructuring websites of particular governance entity? Similarly, as in business practice, functionality and user-friendliness of the website where information on participation issues is hosted determines if citizens will contribute time and efforts into participatory activities. It is known that intuitive and easy-to-use tools promote larger activity. So, to reach more participation, web pages need to be well structured with clear navigation where and how citizens can engage, visually attractive and well tested with potential users before launching them. For interactivity, web pages should actually be linked with the social media pages of governing organizations, including variety of multimedia content such as high-quality pictures, infographics, videos, events, calendars, branded hashtags, URL links to external sources, polls, and other elements to attract attention and actually engage into initiatives. What comes to social media, duplication of formal messages is not effective. Instead, less formal communication should be selected to explain initiatives and mechanisms in a nutshell. Posts with leisure-related content, for example, quizzes, community events, are more popular than those communicating governing reports. Therefore, social media should be viewed as addition, which makes a formal information delivery more attractive and visible. Being more specific about the platforms of direct citizen government communication, additional e-participation platform design is enhanced to make participation issues stand out. At the same time, it needs to be linked to the governance official website in the multiple ways. E-participation platforms are globally created for each specific municipality or city and promoted as a brand with own visual identity for years ahead. E-participation platform can serve as a repository for reports, case studies, project information, any updates, announcements, and upcoming events. In order to make communication visually and conceptually attractive, the communication strategy should include press and social media kit design. What does it mean? A press and social media kit provides clear information for other media platforms to use in order to support reporting on open government reforms. The kit may include visual materials such as logos, photos, other graphics, as well as contact details for media spokesmen available for more information or services. Despite of digital character of e-participation, the offline channels for promoting e-participation should not be disregarded. Still, a lot of citizens find it easier to come to a municipal office and sign a petition or receive a consultation. However, these moments can also be used to enhance citizens to use online tools as more efficient and easy to use method. Assessment of e-participation processes is an integral part of ensuring efficiency and effectiveness of citizen government communication. One of the most popular methods is citizen satisfaction measurement via survey or poll. It allows to detect services of good and insufficient quality as well as identify what and how could be improved. These can be later complemented with other techniques such as citizen journey, employee surveys, or of governmental service providers, any other data that might provide useful references. Additional data on improvement of citizen experience might come from internal back office operation analysis. Here we can see several tools and methods used for enhancing online communication within e-participation. These are, for instance, online surveys used for rating of services and initiatives, selection of priorities, some kind of informal voting, and other functions. These can be e-participation platforms or participatory budgeting platforms, meaning that these are specifically made for publishing and discussing initiatives, plus voting for them in case of participatory budgeting platforms. Also, e-governance platforms as smartphone apps can be used specifically. What needs to be highlighted is their function of notifying responsible institutions or citizens with some inquiry to take a step or to provide some information. Social media pages and groups are widely used and also providing notifications and discussion sections. Multifunctional online platforms for civic participation basically means all above mentioned tools contained in one and allowing e-participation in a larger sense. Also, emailing can be mentioned as a tool and a method for e-participation implementation, but this is less effective as rather used for individual inquiries, for instance, to require some specific or detailed information about any issue. So to sum up what has been previously discussed, e-participation framework consists of three stages: making citizens aware, which stands for e-informing, enabling the discussion, e-consultancy, and empowering citizens by giving them the right to decide, which is basically e-decision making. And all is this done online. Effective communication with citizens should be audience-centric, interactive, not just as a formality, but delivered proactively to the right audiences in the right languages. Information should be structured, but at the same time provide large context through storytelling techniques, for instance, to communicate explicitly. Functional and user-friendly websites and interactive social media is a must nowadays to reach younger citizens. However, as previously discussed, offline and online should be mixed for more effective and efficient participatory budgeting or e-participation. Even if social media and website is managed professionally in the right languages, in the right way, visibility and reach of information is still limited, and therefore cooperations with other organizations such as local, regional NGOs, industry and public service representatives is recommended. E-participation should be supported by offline activities, as I have already mentioned, and special digital spaces and tools are designed for data collection and support of e-participation. So do not forget about online surveys, e-participation and participatory budgeting platforms, e-governance apps, social media pages, and groups. Within the EmPaci project, participatory budgeting has, as a form of citizen participation, has a central role. Therefore, in the next slides, I will particularly pay more attention to participatory budgeting implemented online. So after researching on some prominent online participatory budgeting cases, the EmPaci project experts have gathered the knowledge on how participatory budgeting should be organized in an online environment. During the research, it has soon become clear that there is no one universal formula for PB, participatory budgeting, or PB design, as citizen behaviors and customs differ by region and areas. However, experts share some experience-based practices that allow to establish some common principles for running PB. For instance, participatory budgeting should be organized regularly, preferably at least once a year, to make a stable image of the idea and procedures in the eyes of citizens. Clear procedures have to be worked out and announced and, importantly, consistently followed each time with no serious deviations from round to round. Secondly, the profile of PB participant does not need to be obligatory aligned to the official political voting system. Many cities and regional entities have successfully practiced the engagement of young people and even children in proposing and designing ideas. Thirdly, authentication of voters may vary by locality and legal frame. Citizen idea submission and voting may be done by registered users with no registration, or with or without electronic signature. It all depends on the legal requirements and experience of running PB. Participatory budgeting may also vary in scope of the action, and depending on the needs priorities of locality, can focus on specific themes such as infrastructure, culture, or soft projects, or encompass wide range of topics. And going deeper into the online environment, there are a variety of platforms and channels participatory budgeting can be communicated through. Is it specialized participatory budgeting or e-participation platform or a set of other digital tools applied for various functions? The significant attention should be paid to the user experience of citizens. Concerning the online environment, let's say web page or PB platform, it is important to structure the information in a way it is easy to understand and navigate through. All phases of participatory budgeting are demonstrated, briefly described, and with instructions on where to do what. Here, visualizations play the key role, as large textual explanations might be too heavy for an average user. Therefore, pictures, graphics, and maps are a good choice to reflect the ideas, project steps, or instructions. At the same time, the design and whole interface should not be too conservative or too extravagant, keeping in mind the diversity of user groups that might use the online platform or website. Additionally, interactive elements such as polls and questionnaires are enhanced to be present on the platform to monitor the feedback from the users, know them better, and design more customized solutions. Also, it is important to remember that citizens are more interested in the projects that directly affect them. Therefore, there are different categories of submissions of the projects for participatory budgeting discussions. When, for instance, a part of the budget is dedicated to the city-focused projects and another part to different districts of the city. It characterizes the way information can be mapped and structured. However, the way details of the project are displayed are also important. The aligned and customized form of project descriptions means structuring information block in relation to, for instance, a justification of the project, activity description, expected results, general cost or budget distribution by categories, timeline, etc. Additionally, it is recommended to update citizens on each important step and phase of participatory budgeting using both online and offline channels and tools. Not all citizen groups will reach specific information online, and not all are even using internet. Therefore, access to PB information should be also provided offline. The same affects other aspects of participatory budgeting, for instance, voting and project submission in a paper form. Information on participatory budgeting is more easy to find and follow if each particular city or municipality connects own PB platform to some larger platform with national scope, for instance. Of course, this is the question about some strategic planning of PB on a national scale and requires large investments. But on the other side, it allows to create representable image of democratic processes in a country and specific administrative entities, and share best practices with other municipalities. Importantly, participatory budgeting rounds should not coincide with public elections or other political activity, as it might at some point associate participatory budgeting with the efforts or success of some political party and ruin the trust of particular citizen groups towards effectiveness and transparency of participatory budgeting. The calendar of PB activities should always keep in mind other political actions carried out nationally or locally. Here on this slide you can see some facts about the participatory budgeting process in the city of Krakow, Poland. The picture depicts the map of a submitted PB project, which is easy to navigate through. In general, Krakow has own participatory budgeting platform which is integrated into the city council website. The website has a number of references to different kinds of information relevant for city inhabitants, such as the weather, administrative services, transportation, and etc. Therefore, participatory budgeting as one of the website sections is visible and accessible enough. It contains participatory budgeting priority topics for project applicants, information on project submission, such as templates, support contacts, etc. Voting and commenting feature is also present for registered user, as well as maps, such as one you can see on the screen. In Krakow, citizens can vote for two types of projects, city-based and district-based, and information on the projects to vote for include the categories of project budget, timeline, visualization, justification, and many more. Additional press releases and other update articles are produced to keep participants informed on the progress of project submission, voting, as well as implementation. Here you can see another example, this time from Madrid, Spain. As a participatory budgeting platform launched in 2016, Decide Madrid contains both e-participation and participatory budgeting platforms integrated in one. Here in this model, citizens can develop public discussions on each creative initiative, as well as initiate own forums. Such discussions, depending on the types, can have voting and commenting functions attached. Similarly, as in the case of Krakow, Decide Madrid stores all information about the projects supported by the citizens or projects under implementation. However, as you can see, the form of visualizing data is different. See here table instead of a map, as it was in previous example. But still, filtering and sorting functions allow to select projects by their district. The participatory budgeting process in Madrid allows to apply with own projects by both organizations and individuals. Registration is required from users to apply with and vote for projects. Information campaigns are organized in all city districts. And with this, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I hope it was useful and inspiring enough to search for more information. See examples and information on the online communication of e-participation and particularly participatory budgeting in the following sources. Thank you.